Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a great, of course, happy holiday. And of course, with the holidays over, like I said in my previous video, it's time to move forward and to talk about the inauguration of Donald Trump and that transition, which is we're halfway through, and we just have around 20 days until the inauguration of Donald Trump. That will be on January the 20th, 2024. And a lot of things are interesting because a lot of interesting things are going on. So you're seeing the Trump transition is a success, no matter how much the liberal media wants to paint this as a horrible thing, as like, oh, Kash Patel, he's going after the political opponents. Oh, RFK is battling with conspiracy theories, with medicine. He's not experienced. He's a lawyer, not a doctor. And then they go after Elon Musk has been the trend lately. Elon Musk is president, blah, blah, blah. And it seems every time they talk and open their mouth about something negative, the more Trump's lead is growing. You're seeing recently in the recent poll here that 11 percentage points from Economist YouGov, a poll saying that most Americans approve of President Donald J. Trump, who, of course, and his successful transition. The poll that have seen the least energy in the most later years was the Marist poll. I don't know if there's a margin of error, but yes, there is a 7-point. So Donald Trump I don't think he has ever lost a poll according to his transition. This is very normal for people to have, like Joe Biden's transition was successful to a point. Yeah, Trump was more successful in this time around than his 2016 transition, which was a little controversial, seeing that he didn't win the popular vote. There was and most people voted against him. But now it seems most Americans support Donald Trump, and we see that with the electoral results. I believe we are done counting. Are we done counting? Let's take a look. That green line should be gone. It's going to be loading. Oh, it's gone. Yep, we're done counting. This is the official results. 77 million voters voted for Donald J. Trump. 75 million. 75 million, guys. 75 million people. And some of them might be rich, but obviously a lot of them buy into the liberal conspiracy theories, of course, like Wikipedia article is accusing Trump of doing. But yeah, this is what they're doing. They're battling with conspiracy theories that Donald Trump is a fascist. He's going to take over the government. He's going to take revenge on his political opponents. Obviously, the majority of Americans, they're like, yeah, I smell some BS here. That's not going to happen. And really, we're seeing a huge chunk of popularity that we have honestly never seen for Donald Trump. This is actually very huge. And although it's saying approval of President-elect Donald J. Trump, it's saying, okay, most polls, I believe, most recent polls, 11 percentage points for, of course, the president-elect. I think these are the most recent polls, but let's go ahead and see leaders. I want to see comparing them to political leaders' favorability. You'll see Trump is very well above water. 0.9% subtracting that. I have to call that out, though. You have Reuters saying that Donald Trump is underwater by 14, under Quinnipiac. We know Quinnipiac and their BS Harris polls. Do you really think that would be the case? The Economist has been very accurate, and really Donald Trump has just an approval rating just below 1%. And then again, you got to remember, Donald Trump, he's not just off with polls. It's hard to poll Donald Trump with his favorability. It's always been the case. And when it comes to voting for him, And obviously, we don't need these polls and these favorabilities because we have the mandate. Over 50% of Americans, and I'm sure I'll round up to 0.1%, because you got to remember that the turnout, I would say majority of Americans, if you got the remaining 40% going in, I think Donald Trump would probably be more favorited by a 3-point win. If you force everyone, and if the United States, by law, forced everyone to vote, which it doesn't, some countries like Belgium make it mandatory for you to vote by law. Everyone has to vote. Like, everyone has to get a state ID or a driver's license. And everyone has to take the census. You see, that's how kind of they're saying. But of course, as I predicted, the turnout dropped 2.7% because you got two unfavorable candidates. And I would say Donald Trump, going into this, he wasn't really favorable. And some people have, of course, some negative views on him. But right now, he's really, really rebuilt his career. A career that everyone thought was gone. And of course, with that assassination attempt, there's so much respect for Donald Trump now, and a lot of hope that, you know what, Donald Trump, he can do what he needs to get done. And here's the thing: we need to let Donald Trump be Donald Trump. We need to let Donald Trump use his conscience, and we need to step back and have some trust, because what we did in the first administration, his first administration, we had a hard time doing that. We had a hard time trusting Donald Trump, and really, what eventually happened was all these Congress people, all his advisors were getting in his way. Even the American people were getting in his way. No, we need to sit back. We already experienced the worst that an administration can get. That is the Biden administration. Where's Joe Biden right now? He is sleeping on the beaches of Delaware. Yep, he's on vacation 40% of the time during his presidency. This guy is incompetent. And the idea that you would want to elect this guy sleeping on a beach, you can care less. Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, it's getting swept by a hurricane, and he's sleeping on the beach. Nope, that's perfectly fine. It just cannot be Trump. That's seriously stupid and deluded. So obviously, Donald Trump is the most popular political leader, believe it or not, when it comes to the said approval ratings. Biden underwater by 15 points. You got, of course, Kamala Harris. Everyone said how good she was. Well, after she was defeated in a landslide, her popularity has sunk. And it could be that all these liberals stopped, the excitement over Kamala Harris stopped, and that overall that excitement stopped. That obviously the honeymoon's over; it's dead, and as a result, it's back to normal. Really, everyone back before 2024 or 2023, everyone knew, looking at the picture, that Kamala Harris was bad to begin with, right? She was bad in the beginning, right? Nothing different. So really, it was just that media energy, and they were successful at making her a star. But did everyone participate in that? Obviously not. Okay? They were successful of getting her approval rating up. So they were successful in many things. But really, her approval rating's down at 48%, basically, which is hilarious. Everyone's saying, oh, she's above water. You got Mike Johnson. He's underwater by 9 points. He's making some silly decisions lately. Hakeem Jeffries. He's slightly above, somewhat close here. Not everyone knows who Hakeem Jeffries is. He's not the most, 2022... 2023, he was selected to be the guy. Who's Hakeem Jeffries? He was just a U.S. congressman. It's like average U.S. congressman. He's selected to be the House majority leader for Democrats in the future. But, no, not the House majority, but the leader for House Democrats. But obviously, with people that bell not ringing, it's hard to recognize Hakeem Jeffries. No one knew who Mike Johnson. I didn't even know who Mike Johnson was. I mean, how can I know all 435, no, 438 U.S. congressmen and women? How, like, list them all the way down? I think you can eventually, but it's going to take some time, some practice. Chuck Schumer's minus 14. Mitch McConnell, minus 37. Okay, yeah, he is, like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, Mitch McConnell needs to leave. I fear that he could lose his seat. I mean, guys, if did you send Andy Bashir against Mitch McConnell, this is serious. I think it's very possible that Bashir would win. I'm just saying. Like, he's very popular. McConnell's very unpopular. And I don't want to go through that. Lose a Senate seat in a deep red state because we had a stubborn old man that refuses to leave. And yeah, it's up to us. If he decides to run again, we primary him. We primary him with someone. Daniel, what's it? Is it no, not Daniel. Daniel Cameron, whoever. But obviously, we got good results there. So, despite the said, obviously, the difficulties, and this explains why the media is going after Donald Trump. This is why they're panicking. They're saying all these crazy stuff, that Elon Musk is president, and that, of course, Kash Patel and Donald Trump, they're going to go after their political opponents. They're going to go after the Cheneys, even though ideally they should be going after. I think Dick Cheney needs to be held accountable for that Iraq war that we went into for no reason. So hold those two accountable. And yeah, and it's so bad. They defend them like they're Democrats. But here's the thing. They'll use the Cheneys. They'll pretend to love the Cheneys, but they don't. They're using it as leverage to get political points. But are they getting political points over it? No, because all we're hearing is noise. We've been hearing noise for this whole entire year, from Trump saying poison to the blood of our country, to, of course, the bloodbath hoax, to the Puerto Rico joke that was totally taken out of context all the way there. We got what else? We got the eating cats and dogs hoax. Okay, what else? He being dictator on day one hoax. And of course, the black jobs hoax. It's getting, like, people, I can tell, majority, 80-70% of Americans are like, turn off the radio and continue on your day. It's so irrelevant. How is this making the headlines? And then they make a huge deal. Oh, Donald Trump said that Elon Musk can't be president because he wasn't born here. That means he doesn't want immigrants. He doesn't want people of color to be president. They're trying to make these connections. They're trying to do a psyop. And this is what it is this whole entire time. Like, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does. It's boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And just recently, they are boo-hoo, whining, and crying because Donald Trump's saying, hey, look, federal employees, stop sitting in your couches and actually go to work. Go to the office. We are paying for those offices via tax dollars, and they're not even being used. They're all covered in cobwebs. We haven't even opened the door, and those said, maybe some person will go in to clean. There's no point. Sure, they have nothing to clean but dust in there. But you get what I'm saying. We're paying for these offices that are vacant. What's the point? So Donald Trump is saying, hey, look, this isn't fair for the taxpayer. You guys have to go back to work. COVID-19 is over. It's time to return back to normalcy. Trump's breaking union contracts, the blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, they are going to fight this against the Trump administration. Those who are so cuckooed for Cocoa Puff would go and resist this. But those who have common sense would say, hey, look, we cannot be working at home forever. Period. This isn't the new way of life. And we have these liberal secularists that say, oh, COVID-19, It gave us the option to work at home. No, because what happens when you work at home? You deprioritize. Because I'll tell you, one thing I'm so dissatisfied with is telehealth. And every time I go for an appointment, my appointment, and I say, hey, you know what? I go to the doctors, and I'm saying, hey, look, and I have, of course, I'm sure you all know, I have a disease. I have T1D. So of course, I'm concerned as a type 1 diabetic. I am very concerned about, of course, how I'm doing, and all that stuff. And I want to talk to my doctor in front of him. But my doctor and my doctor's office is just so stuck up that they totally just say, you know what? Nope. We are going to force you to stay at home, miles away from the doctor's office, and we got to do telehealth. Why? Because these silly doctors don't want to go into work. We are 2 years after COVID. Everything is fine. Really, if you pulled someone into 2015, go all the way back, time travel, bring a friend from whatever year, bring them here, and they'll ask, why are you guys remote working? I don't know. It's easier. No, it's not. Because it's easier, obviously, because you're deprioritizing. This is the problem. We are, of course, have hard work. We are deprioritizing hard work. Hard work is going down the drain. And we want to make things easy because life is hard. Therefore, we're entitled to easy work. No. Life is hard. Period. You're not entitled to anything about life. You're entitled to life. You're entitled to live. You're entitled to, then again, a job, but you're going to have to work for that job. I can tell you how many times I have been rejected out of work because I have a service dog. And for some reason, they can't accommodate the service dog. Do I boo-hoo, whine, and cry? Oh, you're such an ableist! You're an ableist! Yeah! And do I go and weep on the floor saying, it's been so hard? No. No, because this is what adult life is. You get up and you say, okay, thank you for having me. And you go off and look for another job. I've done that, and I'm continuing to do that. And I'm melting down over it. I'm frustrated about it. But guess what? I have the opportunity and say, hey, look, maybe I have to accommodate myself. Maybe I can leave my dog at home. I preferably need my dog. But I will be fine to have it with him being without me for a couple hours when I work. Problem solved. Am I coming to that conclusion yet? Preferably, I want to have my dog with me. And I've bonded to him. I'm used to working with him. I feel like it would be an interesting experience. I would say a difficult experience for the first time job. But eventually, you know what I'm going to have to do? If this doesn't, we don't progress through this, I'm going to say, you know what? It's okay. I can leave my dog at home because life doesn't just give you hard work, it gives you sacrifice. You have to make sacrifices. You have to gamble. You have to sacrifice something to achieve. And boo-hoo, whining and crying and begging the employer to employ you and say, oh, you don't understand the hardship I've been going over. You go victimizing yourself. That's not going to fix the situation. You know that. So, kudos to Donald Trump saying the obvious. Hey, look, ideally, taxpayers can't be paying for empty offices. That's the ideal reality. But people, and I ideally have to go back to work because we are lacking social skills. Here's the deal. We try to do these remote learning, distance learning. And this is for kids a young age. Now we're doing it for work. This isn't helping people strive. Helping people strive is helping people be social. You need to get out in the community. Your house is not your world. Get out of the house and work. Learn. So obviously, we talked about that. Another thing that the liberal left likes to go over is immigration. Oh, Trump! Trump, you can't remove all the illegal immigrants. Who's going to pick the cotton? Well, here's the thing. You pick your own cotton, stupid. Pick your own cotton. We did it before. We like to hire the illegal immigrants, especially they like to go and pick the cotton, literally, for the cotton industry. It kind of reminds me of something that sort of something similar that occurred during the 1860s, a practice in the 1860s. But I can't mention that. It's racism. If I dare mention it, okay, I won't. I apologize. I do not know. But, here's the thing. Pick it yourself. Do the work yourself. Who are we going to hire? You hire everyone else. You hire everyday Americans. And it's true. These illegal immigrants are stealing African American jobs. The point is, the Democrats don't want the illegal immigrants to go because they want their votes. But they know they have to go. They know it. And when we say, oh, no, Trump, you can't separate families, and then Trump went up and said, hey, guess what? We're not going to separate families. We're going to deport the whole family. No, Trump, you can't deport the whole family. Why not? You get mad for splitting families apart, and I don't think they should be split apart. That is emotional and hard to see. But when we try to solve and prevent more heartbreak by having the family be deported together, no, because the kids were born in this country, yeah. And to some decisions, we have to figure out, it's hard. This is hard because they want the kids to stay in the country, but they also want the families to stay together. How are we supposed to do this when the parents enter the country illegally? Should we separate them? Well, that was what we were trying to do. I don't think it was necessarily the best idea, but they boo-hoo, whined and cried for 8 years. And then afterward, they're like, okay, we know how this is going to go if we initiate, so we're going to deport the whole family. Boo-hoo, no, don't deport the whole family. So they just don't want to solve the situation. And obviously, you have mayors like Brandon Johnson of Chicago. He's going downhill. His residents are rising up against it. They're calling for the mass deportations. A lot of them are African American. And here Brandon Johnson claims to support black and brown communities, black and brown businesses. No. Yeah, this is the grift. As he uses taxpayer dollars to get a haircut to support this black-owned barber shop. If he really cared about that black-owned business, he would use his own money, not the taxpayer money. See the grift? So what do you guys think in regards to this video? Interesting as we had approached more to and closer to that very special day, January the 20th. Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next political episode.